Okay, so you're spiraling a little bit. Maybe you're spiraling a lot a bit. I mean, you've got a test date on the calendar, you've been studying, but something in the gut just doesn't feel right. And no, it's probably not the 5 cups of coffee that's holding our study sessions together. So now you're asking the question that every MCAT student eventually asks. Should I push my test date back? Should I just go for it? Am I overreacting? Am I underreacting? What the heck is happening in my brain? Okay, well, first of all, this is totally normal. This is one of the most common things that I hear from students, but I want to help you answer it the right way. Okay, not with vibes, not with panic, but with data. I'm Hunter Enright, and today we're gonna figure out whether you should push your MCAT test date back, and if the answer is yes, what to actually do about it. Before we get into everything, drop your test date in the comments and tell me where your current practice scores are relative to your goal. Not because strangers on the internet should make this decision for you. Please do not outsource your MCAT life to a comment section, but writing the numbers down is often the first step in making this feel less emotional and more concrete. Okay, all right, with all that, let's dive in. Okay, before we get into the diagnostic, I need you to honestly ask yourself one question. Is something actually wrong with your prep, or are we just nervous? Because those two things feel almost identical on the inside, but they are very different situations. Pre-test anxiety is basically universal, okay? I have talked to hundreds of tutors, students, and colleagues across the MCAT prep industry, and I genuinely cannot find a single person who walked into the MCAT feeling completely confident and came out the other side thinking like, yep, nailed it. I mean, I walked out of my own MCAT convinced that I bombed it, and students who score 520 plus have told me the exact same thing. The feeling of I'm not ready does not automatically mean that you're unprepared, and a lot of the time it just means that you're a human being who cares about the outcome of a very important test. So if you haven't already, go watch our prep audit video. It walks you through a structured, data-driven check on whether your preparation is actually on track. If you go through the audit and everything checks out, then the honest answer is probably yeah, you're okay. The anxiety might be lying to you, and if the data says that you're ready, don't let fear be the only reason you move your test date. But if you run that audit and something doesn't add up, if there are real red flags and not just nerves, then we need to talk. And that's what the rest of this video is for. If you've been taking AAMC full-length practice exams, and you should be, here's a benchmark that I've used over the years and have consistently seen hold true with a lot of my own students. 4 weeks out, you should be about 10 points away from your goal score. 2 weeks out, you should be within 5 points. Now, I want to be really careful here, okay? This is not a hard and fast rule. It is not a guarantee. Being 10 points away at the 4-week mark does not mean that you are definitely going to close that gap. It means that the gap is realistic. It means that the distance is possible, that you are not necessarily in push your test date back immediately territory, but expecting more than 10 points of improvement in a month is a very tall order. And I would rather be straight with you about that than let you walk into test day surprised. It's important to remember that score gains on the MCAT are not linear, okay? Most students hit a plateau somewhere in the middle of their prep. Very often, it's somewhere in that 500 to 510 range. And when you're in it, it feels like nothing is working. You're doing questions, you're reviewing, you're taking exams, and the score just sits there staring at you like you owe it rent or something. But in my experience, the most significant jumps often come in that final 6-week stretch, when students are deep into AAMC materials, reviewing full-length properly, and finally seeing the same concepts and reasoning patterns enough times for everything to start clicking. Timing that felt impossible starts to become manageable. Passages that felt random start having structures, and content that felt foggy starts connecting to the actual questions. I've seen students who were genuinely worried that they were stuck go on to finish really strong because they trusted the process and kept going. So if you're within that range and doing the right things, don't pull the plug just because you're uncomfortable. The gains might be right around the corner. But if you are significantly beyond that range, that deserves a real honest look. Okay, let's talk about cramming. I have to talk about this directly because I hear some version of it constantly. Everyone's like, look, I know I'm pretty far away from my goal score, but I'm taking the last 2 weeks off before my test, totally off of work. I'm gonna be able to just 100% focus on the test, and I'm gonna make up the difference. Look, okay, I hear you. I understand why that feels like a plan. It feels responsible and intense and like we're sacrificing, and it's like, okay, now I'm getting serious, but I gotta be honest with you, it's not a great plan. Even if you cram 150 hours into those final 2 weeks, you're not going to get 150 hours worth of score improvement out of it. The MCAT is not that kind of test. The reason prep plans are built over months and not weeks is because your brain needs repeated exposure over time to actually consolidate the information. That's the forgetting curve, which we dug into in a previous video. Seeing something once or twice in a frantic 2-week sprint does not make it stick. Okay, spaced repetition over long periods of time does. That's just how memory works. And here's the part that nobody talks about enough. Stress and sleep deprivation actively undermine memory consolidation. If you're in Hail Mary mode, you're exhausted, anxious, sleeping poorly, and you're trying to just brute force your way to the final stretch, you're failing to absorb new material efficiently. And you might actually be compromising your ability to retain and access what you already know. High stress, low sleep, and constant panic are not great conditions for learning. You can spend 12 hours studying in that state and come out of it less prepared than when you started. So if you're banking on a last-minute sprint to close a big gap, that's not a strategy, that's a signal. And the signal is, you're probably not ready for this exam. The good news is that not yet ready and not ever ready are very different things. There's a couple other things that I consider like red flags. First and foremost, a significant amount of AAMC material has been left untouched. Now, at minimum, and I mean the bare minimum, before you sit for the real exam, you should have worked through the section banks, at least 2 full CARS resources, and your AAMC full-length exams, ideally with real, thorough review. Not just doing them to check a box, not just finishing a full length, looking at the score, feeling bad for 30 minutes and then moving on, but actually digging into what went wrong and why. Was it content? Was it passage interpretation, experimental design, timing, right? Was it falling for the same trap answer over and over again because the answers sounded fancy and sciencey? If you haven't touched the section bank or you did the full lengths but kind of skipped the review, you have not actually finished your prep. Okay, giving yourself a few more weeks to do that material properly could make a genuinely significant difference in your score. Second red flag, you have plateaued, but you keep doing the same things and hoping for different results. Okay, if your study approach hasn't changed, but you're expecting a breakthrough, that's a problem. A plateau means what you've been doing has stopped producing gains. That doesn't mean you are doomed. It means that your current approach has probably given you everything it's gonna give. If you push your test date, we'll need to talk about what changes, okay? We'll come back to that in a second. Now, if you head into your test still running the same pattern that has been stalling you, then you should expect similar results to what you've been seeing. And now the third red flag, big score swings between practice tests. If your scores are bouncing around by more than 5 or 6 points from test to test, that volatility is telling you something important. For example, if your score is like 500 and then 507 and then 499, you're clearly capable, but it's just not reliable yet. In my experience, that kind of inconsistency often traces back to performance issues, anxiety, sleep deprivation, focus, distraction, endurance, timing, all of that stuff, right? You are capable of a high score, but something is getting in the way on certain days. The good news is that's fixable, but it usually takes time, not just grinding more questions. So let's say that you have decided to push your test back. It's important to realize that pushing your test date only helps if something actually changes in your prep patterns. More time doing the same thing that wasn't working before isn't just gonna magically get you a different result. So if you're going to push, get specific about why. What is actually broken and what are you going to do differently? If it's a content problem, then the fix isn't just study more. The fix is targeted review based on your missed questions. You should be able to say, I am consistently missing fluids, circuits, acids and bases, enzyme kinetics, and endocrine questions. So that's what I'm gonna be focusing on. If CARS is the problem, then the fix is not just do more passages and hope. The fix is consistent CARS practice with careful review. You need to look at why each answer is correct and why your wrong answers are tempting you and what pattern keeps trapping you. If timing is the problem, then the fix is timed practice sets, pacing checkpoints, and full-length simulation, not just untimed practice forever and ever and ever. If endurance is the problem, then the fix is more realistic test day reps. Wake up when you should wake up on test day, take the exam under real conditions, practice eating, practice taking breaks, timing, recovery, all that stuff, right? If anxiety is the problem, the fix might involve test day routine, sleep consistency, breathing strategies, more realistic practice, or whatever kind of support you can get in order to improve your performance side of this exam. And if AMC material is the problem, meaning you haven't done it or you haven't reviewed it, well, that fix is super easy. Go do the AMC material. Don't just push your test date back and vaguely promise yourself that you'll lock in. That's not a plan, that's a motivational poster, okay? A real plan sounds like, all right, I'm gonna push my test date back by 4 weeks because I have 8 points below my goal score, I haven't finished the section banks, my car's score is a little unreliable, and I need 2 more full-length review cycles before test day. That is strategic, specific, and useful. And this is where using structured resources matter. If you need help figuring out what is actually broken in your prep, check out the MCAT resources on the Jack Westin website. We've got practice, strategy, review tools designed to help you stop guessing and start diagnosing what is actually happening. Because pushing your test date back is not a reset button, it's not a guarantee, it's just more time. And more time is only valuable if you use it differently than you have been. One more thing, and this I really want you to hold on to. Feelings are a terrible way to make this decision. Okay, we pre-meds are, and I say this with love, we are a neurotic, type A bunch of high-achieving, crazy people. We tend to believe that if we just suffer more, stay up later, do more questions, grind harder, and generally just make our lives worse, the score is gonna follow. And when we feel that we haven't suffered enough, then we kind of feel like we're not ready, but our brain isn't a logic computer. It's a squishy, hormone-soaked, very human thing that needs sleep and rest and positive feedback to perform. I've seen students who were crushing 510s in practice walk into test day and drop 10 points because they were anxious or distracted or exhausted. The content was there, but the brain just couldn't access it. So here's the rule. Make this decision with data, not with feelings. What are your practice scores? How close are you to your target? Have you finished your AMC materials? Are your scores stable? Do you actually know what is causing you to miss questions? Those questions have real answers. Let those answers lead. And if this video is helping you make a calmer, more data-driven decision, hit that like and subscribe. We make MCAT strategy videos like this because this test is already stressful enough. The goal is to make it more predictable, more manageable, and a little less insane. Okay, so let me leave you with 2 things depending on what camp you're in. If you went through everything in this video and none of it really applies to you, your scores are in range, your materials are done or close to done, your practice tests are consistent, you're probably fine. Don't let anxiety make this call for you. Go take the test. But if you did see yourself in some of these, right, a few of those red flags hit a little too close to home, that's okay too. Pushing your test date is not a failure, and it's not a black mark on your application. It doesn't mean that you're behind the curve or falling behind those anonymous people bragging on the internet. It means that you're being strategic. It means that you're playing the long game instead of just gambling on a Hail Mary. So here is the simplest version. Okay, if your scores are in range, your AMC work is mostly done and your test scores are consistent, go take it. If your scores are far out of range, more than 10 points, major AMC resources are untouched or unfinished, or your practice scores are just swinging wildly, you should seriously consider pushing your test date back. And if you do push, the question is not how much longer do I get? The question is what specifically changes? The goal is not to take the MCAT on a date that you picked. The goal is to take it when your data says that you're ready to earn the score that you need. Sometimes that means holding the line. Sometimes it means pushing it back. Neither one is automatically brave or weak, and the smart move is the one supported by evidence. That's it for today. I'll see you in the next one.